Well, I think that it is almost all fabulously good. And that shocks people because they say, oh, competition's all that stress and maybe it's not fair and only the mediocre people really win. And there's all this big opinion that could be negative. My experience is that, first of all, in the preparation, the young singer has to get together a repertoire that suits him or her perfectly, that is wide. You cannot go with your 3 arias that you've been singing for who knows how long. You must have a wide repertoire, and you must have it on a very, very high level. So no matter what happens in the competition, you have already gained by being on the point, by being completely ready for what this profession needs in terms of repertoire from a young singer. That's the one thing. I don't think it's only about coping with depression if you don't win. Nobody likes to lose. I hate losing everybody. I mean, it's not fun.
Yes, but it's not a matter of losing, I think.
Yeah, but it still feels like losing, even if it's, you know, your second best and you were there and all of that. But I think also sometimes it's about realizing, jeepers, I'm better than I thought. It's the other side of the coin, because how often do singers deal with a lack of self-confidence?
Yes.
And you go into a situation, okay, you may not make it to those final 3 people, but I say if you make it to the finals, you're a winner. Because then it's a matter of taste. But if you get to the finals, that you can pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's a burden for the singer, because you have to realize your best things in the first half minute. Don't you think that? That's the pressure on the singer.
Oof, but that's our profession.
Yes.
You know, 8 o'clock, you better deliver.
Of course.
You know, so from that point of view, the pity is, of course, you don't have a whole recital to regain that first moment of fear where maybe the breath is high, the vibrato is quick, all the things that can happen. But I do think that it's all training, and if you're doing it with love and with joy, even the pressure has a feeling of wah, rather than only pure fear, you know?
Yeah. And what do you think about all-round competitions? So, do you think it's wise to have people in all categories, or do you think you should really find where your strength is?
It's a very good question. I think there is room for both. I think there are specialized competitions which have very much worth because they go even deeper into the repertoire. For example, the Hugo Wolf or the Schumann, you know, it's huge what is required. On the other hand, it is realistic that one person do all. Now, I did more concert than I did opera, but I did opera. So people will have different priorities. They will sing, you know, it's tricky if you're doing verismo. You cannot sing Bach and Haydn, probably too fantastic, but you can do Verdi Requiem. You can, so there's always some repertoire. You know, you can, Wagner, you can do the Wesendonck, what do I know, you know?
Yes.
So I'm thinking it makes sense to have the all-round. I like it very much, in fact. And I think that's what makes you very special here in 's-Hertogenbosch.
Yeah, that's good. We try to make a good balance out of that, but sometimes it's difficult. Because I think young singers do not know where their strength is. So they think when I take all-round, then I have more chances.
Yeah, it's
but
funny,
I think sometimes you better focus on your own strength. But do you have experience yourself in competitions?
Oh,
Did you
yeah.
do it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. From the word go, when I was 12, I was already doing competitions.
And did you win?
Pretty well. Not all the time. I lost in Geneva. I had a cold, but still I lost. I remember my husband, when I came home from the Mozart competition, I got second prize, and they didn't give a first prize. And I came back in tears. I said, I lost. And he said, what, you lost? I said, I only got second prize. So he thought, oh boy, what did I marry, you know? But I have had a few first prizes. I've had some third, second, some not at all. You know, just you roll the dice and you go for it. Yes. And I think one thing's important. If you're going to start doing competitions, do several. Don't just do one. Because you never know if you get the taste of the moment or not. You know?
That's true. And you don't know who is in the audience.
Also.
I won a prize here in 's-Hertogenbosch ages ago. And then a year later I did another competition. I was kicked out after one aria. Then the next day, the intendant of the Dutch Opera called me and said, well, do you feel coming and sing in Dutch opera? I said, yes. And now, 35 years later, I still sing there.
Yes.
So sometimes
Bravo.
there are no losers. Huh?
Yes.
But what I like on the competition, it goes to the people who go on.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you lose, because everyone forgets about you. They don't say what a bad singer you are. So that's
And it makes a great story later on. I mean, I have colleagues who were kicked out of, like you, after one aria. And they have these fabulous careers, and you can have a good laugh about it, what they missed, you know. So it's really not the end-all, be-all of the world. It's quite true.
Moment can be very painful.
That's it.
And that's always, I feel sad for people. But that's life also.
Yeah.
What do you think about education at the moment? Since all the education, they have not so many years to study. In Holland, we have only 4 or 5 years for singing study. What do you think about that?
I think that the preparation for life and for a career has to start in the family at a very early age. Yes. Not only in musical education, that helps, but in being upright, in being disciplined enough to get through something. I think the package is what is so often missing in the educational thing. It's not just about singing in tune, which is so important, or knowing your repertoire, which is so important, but it's about who you are. If you can handle the glory, if you can handle being special, if you turn into a real horrible person or not, all of that begins so much earlier. Yeah. And sometimes it's very strange, it can begin in people where you would never think that the environment has fed it, but it's there. And that to me is one of the miracles of life.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it starts indeed very young.
Yeah. And I think it's a pity that the choir culture is not as strong as it was. Because in my opinion, the church choir, the community choir, the youth choir, these were places to learn to love harmony, to learn to love phrasing, to learn to love getting along.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to learn to sing.
And
to
just
open
to
your
learn
mouth
and
sing.
do it, you know. And there's a pity. I would really put in a big plug for all the people who still feel they want to do that and they're being underpaid and overworked. Keep doing this.
Yes. Do you like teaching?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's not as good as singing, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
I think having the privilege of having been a singer all those years, there's nothing like it. But teaching is a very close second, I have to say.
That is so good to give what you have gained yourself.
And also the switch of not being numero uno. The person who's important is the student.
Yeah.
And you are, I see myself, I'm the tank station. They come, they get what they need, and I wave, and then they go on.
And you accompany their development.
Absolutely. And when they're my students, the mentoring is very close and very, not personally close all the time. I find that's something that's not my business. But in terms of who they are, how are they developing as people, what do they need for this profession, everything that pertains to the profession. I'm very hands-on for the 4 or 6 years that they're with me.
I think teaching is difficult, but taking lessons is as difficult as the teaching itself.
That's a wise sentence. And I think I want to tell young people, if they are not happy with their teacher for over a longer period of time, and it's not just sort of what can happen with sort of stones in the machine, which is normal, change. Do not double time anybody. Never 2 at the same time. Never, never. Be honest about it.
True.
But go somewhere else, because a good teacher is the one that fits.
Yeah. I talked to a colleague of yours about the bel canto technique, and I think that's a little bit out of the picture every now and then, I think, in the teaching.
I think that it means so many different things to different people. You know, there are a lot of teachers who say, as the Italian school, which I represent, and you think, what? You know, but the idea of the deep breathing, of the appoggio, the idea of crystalline, pure floating, which you need, of course, for any kind of Bellini, all of that, that I think is absolutely the center of good singing and good teaching, without a doubt.
Yeah, that's what I think, and from that on you can go further, and you can go back also, I think, in the time, in the styles. Yes. Have you heard about new techniques, vocal systems nowadays, like a still voice training system or complete vocal technique? There are all sorts of systems, American systems.
You know, I've had a tremendous luck. For my first 15 years, which is up till now. Now, my assistant was Tobias Troniker, who is now the head of the young ensemble in Munich Nationaltheater. Yes. So I'm going to Juilliard, he's going to that. So we love each other and we say goodbye. And he loved nothing better than to read all of these books about all of these different systems. And he always gave me kind of the Reader's Digest version, you know, watered down. And or he went to other teachers and listened and said, you know what, there's a good idea, you might want to try out. He has shaped my own mixed bag so much.
I see.
Because I think, of course, if someone says something, I'm like this, oh, tell me, I'm interested. If it makes somebody sing better, tell me. But the things that are weird, well, I just say maybe somebody else can use it, but not for me. Yeah.
Good.
Pretty traditional.
I see. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
But it's interesting sometimes to learn about new thoughts.
You know, the thing is that I think with new thoughts, does it include the whole musician is always my first question. And if it's only purely functional or purely muscular, where's the musician? Where's the music? And if that isn't equally important, I already have a question mark.
Yeah, that's very important what you say. And that's nowadays the same. It's all, they analyze all the things and they say, if you put your tongue away that way, it sounds that way. Yeah. But they forget about the emotional side of the work. And that's the person, of course.
Yes, and that's the center.
And what about masterclass? Do you like that, doing that? Because you have less time, of course, and you have to see what might be, what could be better.
I'm such a multitasker in it. I mean, for me, it is, it's getting less as I'm getting older. But for me, it's fun to see how quick I can catch it. And the idea of quick diagnosis and making instinctually, hopefully, a good choice in what we discuss in that short time. I have great pleasure in that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's a joy to be here.
Thank you.